Here's a drawing I made of Arlong and a couple of his henchmen. Hope you enjoy, brothers and sisters. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for more artwork like this. Take it easy, nation. One Piece, Chapter 72, Proper Livin'.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, and probably expected at this point, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the tantalizing tale of One Piece. Our last chapter left us with Arlong coming to pay a visit to Genzo in Coco Village. And, you know, he basically kind of gave his monologue about how he's going to be the king of the East Blue and blah, blah, blah. And then that's pretty much how everything ended over there. And that's how the actual volume ended. And then Nami freed Zoro as well and told him he could be on his way. So we know that there's a little more than what's been revealed so far going on with Nami. She's not just this cold, heartless pirate. She does have some hidden motivations. And this is definitely a good chapter. I enjoyed it. So we'll dive right in without further ado. So it starts off pretty much where it left off. Arlong is still in the village, and he has threatened Genzo and is pissed off because he had a sword, and that, you know, that threatens the sanctity of peace that he goes, and it keeps people from rebelling against him. So Usopp is sitting up in the house with Nojiko, Nami's stepsister, and he's just like, what? He's going to try to rule the whole East Blue, king of the East Blue. What's going to happen to my village? You know, because his village is within that area, I guess. And she's like, I don't know, but for right now, all we can do is just kind of, you know, hang tight and endure, right? And that's what we find out that they've been doing. So it then goes down to Arlong, and he's, you know, up in Genzo's face, and he says, you know, someone that carries a weapon, you know, that those are strictly prohibited. Again, it violates the sanctity of the peace that we're trying to have here, and basically they're just ruling over these people. And he says, so as an example, I'm going to kill you. And I'm like, what the fuck? And, you know, so somebody's like, what, just for carrying a weapon, or just for having a weapon? You know, that's bullshit, you know? We always pay you your money. So Nojiko goes running out of the house, and Usopp's like, whoa, you'll get killed. What are you doing? So Nojiko goes and gets up in his face, and she's like, hey, Arlong, that's bullshit. She's like, we've been paying you on time like we're supposed to for the last 8 years. There's not even a hint of rebellion anywhere with anyone, and you think that him having a sword, a decorative sword or whatever, because he likes to collect them, is going to do something? You know, that's nonsense. And everybody kind of starts going, yeah, that is bullshit, right? So then he's just like, well, I could destroy the whole village if you want, you know, and he's just a real prick, you know. So everybody starts kind of rebelling up and you know, stirring. There's some ruckus amongst the crowd, and Genzo says, no, listen, that's the pat. We tried to fight back 8 years ago, and we were almost wiped out. We lost, right? We were almost annihilated. We fight back by enduring, by living, you know, and if that means me having to die, then so be it, but do not fight back, you know, don't touch them, right? And they got this real big thing where, like, you know, he's like, if you touch even one of us, I'll turn this whole village upside down and destroy it. And it's like, well, whatever, man, you know. So he goes on his deal about how they're the superior race, and, you know, and that's why you got to understand where your place is, and, you know, that humans have to understand where their place is. So he grabs Genzo, you know, by the face and just whack, you know, throws him through, you know, through a wall or into a wall, and starts beating him around. And one of the villagers goes and stands up and says, wait, you know, enough. And he kind of stops for a second, and he says, he didn't even use the weapon. It's not like he used a weapon against anybody, and you're going to do this to him? Come on now, please, spare him, right? So Arlong's like, you know what? He's like, I'll just destroy the whole village then. And even his people are like, hey, don't do that. There's no profit in that, right? So he goes and just nails the other villager. And he's just like, you know what? Another hint of rebellion? And he's just basically going to go nuts and destroy everything. So this is kind of the coming out of us seeing what type of a piece of garbage that Arlong is, you know? Certainly you never thought that he was going to be a good guy, but I guess this is just kind of showing you how despicable and dastardly he is and evil, right? So at that point, after that happens, all of a sudden we hear, or we see this cool looking panel, and it's just exploding star, and you see Arlong, you know, get hit, right? And hardly phases him, but it obviously does, you know, stun him. He wasn't expecting it. Nobody touches Arlong or the Fishmen, right? And he's like, what the hell was that? And it's Usopp, and he's standing on top of the roof, and he's like, I am Captain Usopp, and I am the king. I am the killer of demons, or the demon king, and he trumps himself up as this big man. I'm the Captain Usopp. I have 8,000 fighting killers behind me, right? Ready to go into battle if you don't turn and leave now. So he's trying that bullshit story intimidation thing, hoping he can get somebody to buy it. And Arlong's just like, I don't give a shit if you got 80,000 people behind you. I'll go and I'll freaking paper, wallpaper my walls with their hides, right? So he's like, so he's, get him, that type of thing. And Arlong goes over and grabs the building, and we just see the ultimate might of Arlong, or at least, I don't know if everyone's as strong as he is. I know the Fishmen are supposed to be 10 times stronger than humans. This dude just fucking picks up this, 2-story house that Usopp's standing on top of and just, uproots it from the ground, right? And as he's doing that, Usopp's like, oh, Jesus, somebody save me. But anyway, he winds up kind of jumping off and getting off of the house, but before he gets bashed or hurt or anything like that. And Arlong just goes nuts, and he's going to start tearing up the village, And they're just like, no, this is what happened to Gosa, And basically his pirates are like, hey, listen, the more villages you destroy, the less people there are to pay us tribute, right? You can't just, destroy and kill everything. And he's just like, we'll find more villagers. They need to know the might of Arlong, So his couple of his crewmen are able to actually calm him down and grab him and just kind of, and they're like, come on, we'll get it. They're like, let's go chase Usopp. We'll get him back to Arlong Park, So, and then, they say, and you're lucky, we'll be back, he says to the villagers, one of the crewmen. And so they go to get Arlong out of there. And of course, a few of them have gone after Usopp, and Usopp is running, And Usopp goes and he turns over his shoulder and he's, Egg Star! And the guy's like, what the? Oh, rotten egg, So he fires a rotten egg at the guy, and apparently, hopes that the smell will deter him or stun him. But anyway, Usopp is running like hell. But at least tragedy averted for the time being, right? And I mean, Nojiko is like, you jerk, thinking about what Arlong did. So shortly after that, Nojiko is trying to tend to Mr. Genzo, and she's like, oh man, you're hurt, you need medical attention. And he's like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have brought this upon us. And she's like, you didn't even do anything, don't worry about it. That guy's just a dick. I mean, she says he's a jerk, but we know what she means. She means dick. And that's something that didn't get lost in translation, so that's just my own translation. So then Nami appears, right? And she's like, hello, neighbors. And all of a sudden you just hear slam, slam, slam. There's just doors slamming everywhere. Nobody wants to have anything to do with her. And so her stepsister, Nojiko, is like, oh, hey, what are you doing out during daytime? And she's like, well, I heard a ruckus. She's like, Arlong, huh? And then she's like, sister goes, yeah, And then they go and they show Nami in the next page, and she's at a grave marker, a cross, for a grave site that's close to the edge, overlooking the sea. We can only assume this was her mother or her adopted mother, and she basically says, she's like 7 million berries to go is what she says. And then she goes and she tells Nojiko, she's like, I know everybody hates me, but this is what I have to do, and everybody hates me, of course, because I'm a pirate. But, here's the thing. Arlong loves money, okay? That's one thing he does love. So he'll keep our deal. And our bargain is that, when I get him 100 million berries, that's what I need to buy this village from him. So we now see where Nami's motivations are coming from. And that's why I've liked her actually the most as a character, because she's very intriguing. And, 75 chapters in, we're just now finding out where some of her motivations are coming from and how she was pretty much locked into doing this deal. Even though everybody hates her for what she's doing it for the good of the people that are left that she loves, the friends and family that she grew up with in this village, and to save this village from Arlong's wrath, right? So she goes off and does all these despicable things and stabs people in the back and steals and cheats and lies, whatever she's got to do, because she's got this deal with Arlong that if she gives him 100 million berries, he will give her the town. Now, personally, I think Arlong, just from my personal opinion, is a piece of shit anyway, and I can't see him actually keeping the deal just because he's one of those guys that's like, well, I'm strong, I can do whatever I want. But who knows? Maybe he would keep his word. I guess we'll find out, in the next chapter. The chapter ends up shortly after that, and I know I dwelled a little bit long on the Nami exchange there, but I was really looking forward to finding out what her motivations were, because I just didn't believe that she was this cold, calculated, heartless bitch. I truly think that sometimes good people are forced into doing bad things, the wrong things for the right reasons. And then that's where I think she's at here. So that's the kind of parallel I draw from real life, because there's many a times where I've had to do something that it seems like it's the wrong thing, or maybe it is the wrong thing at the time, but it's for the right reasons. It's for the good of someone that I care about or something. So, and I kind of bite the bullet on it to get things done. So the chapter does end. There's a one-page spread where it shows a couple of Arlong's crew, or pretty much everybody who was left back at Arlong Park, at least in that area. Zoro, since he was freed by Nami, he's beat the shit out of and knocked out all of them, because you just see a couple of them laying on the ground just knocked out. And Zoro's just kicked back, man. Like, just ready for, he needs like his slippers and his pipe and smoking jacket, man. He's Hugh Hefner, just kicked back over there. And he's just like, yeah, I could leave, but, I'm not going to. I promised Luffy that I would get that girl back, that I would get Nami back. And, besides, there's something fishy going on over here, and I think things are going to get dicey, he says. So that's how the chapter ends. I thought it was certainly a good one. It was exciting. There was a little mix of action. There was some story development, and ultimately we kind of, shed some light on Nami's, ambitions, desires, and what it is that's driving her for doing what she is doing. So I guess we will find out more in the next chapter, which we look forward to. But let me know what you think, Nation, in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button, if you think I deserve it. And then, of course, subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching you in the next one, Nation.
As always, thank you for watching, brothers and sisters. Be sure to subscribe and take a look at some of my other videos. Thanks. See you next time, Nation.